The next thing we should talk about is sort of the highlight of the whole tool, and that is these PDFs. So there's a reason why we've been entering all this information into one row for this particular responder, and that is to generate a personalized PDF for this responder that's automatically emailed to them. Now this is done through an add-on, which is called Autocrat. And so let's go ahead and launch this. And again, we'll have to allow the tool to access our sheet. And now we can launch it. And again, it's going to open a sidebar. And what this does is it merges the information in a particular row with a document in your drive. And so to make this work, we need to have a document that is sort of the template of the PDF summary. So if we go to the Instructions tab and we scroll down to this particular function, we can see we're going through graphs, we're going through the rosters, and here we are, sending personalized deployment summaries. This is what the summary will look like in their inbox. Deployment summary for their name, it'll include their unit, their deployment dates, and it'll include the rally point that they've been assigned to. Let me zoom in here. Say the rally point with the address and contact information, the departure date and time, and all this information that you've assigned them about their role. This will appear in their inbox. And as we scroll down, we are given a template version of this document. So we click here and open that up. And we're going back to that same old procedure of saving a copy in our drive, right? So here we are. We're going to file, make a copy, and we're going to call it, it's already called their intrastate deployment PDF email template. Click OK. Get rid of the old one, and now in our drive we have it here. So I'm going to drag this into our emergency response folder. So now in our emergency response folder we have the tool, the document, and the questionnaire. And if we look at this document, it looks just like the email they're going to receive, but all the important information has these tags: first name, last name, departure date, and this is where that information goes for that particular responder. So we know that that's there. You can edit this as you wish. You can create new ones as you wish once you sort of realize how this works. Here we are. So what we want to do is select the volunteers that we want to email. And the way we do that is we scroll to the far right here, and we've got a sheet called Master Sheet for Emails. This is a carbon copy, exact replica of the Make Assignments sheet. But all the data, it doesn't have any of those drop-down menus or anything. It's just a mirror image of the data that has been assigned. So you can see that Neil Batra, right here, it has all of my information that I've been assigned, all the way down to my last shift here. What we want to do is do a filter view for the volunteers that we want to send emails to. So while we wait on that a moment, all right, so we can see that there's something a little off here. We don't want these filters here. We're going to do email is the name of the filter. The range, I want it to start at a 3. So editing now our, just wait a moment for that to load. Now these filters are on the correct place. And so let's filter. Let's start by filtering for Philadelphia volunteers. only, and let's do another filter, and let's only send the email to Neil Batra. So let's look through first name. We're going to clear all, and we're going to find Neil. All right, looks like we have 2 Neil Batras in here. That's just because I had this in there before. But basically, you want to, and here I'm highlighting the header row. I'm hitting Shift key, and I'm highlighting my name. So the people that you want to send the email to. I'm going to right-click and click Copy. All right, all these instructions are in the purple, or right above here, step by step. Now I'm going to generate a new sheet specifically for my unit's emails by hitting the plus. All right, we're going to change this and say Phila emails is the name of this new blank sheet. And now I'm going to come here to the top cell, right-click, paste special, not just paste, but paste special, and paste the values only. And the reason why I do that is because if I was to go here and just click paste or click any of these other ones, the entire sheet, or not the not filtered view of this. So all of the individuals in this sheet would have appeared in the Phila emails, not only the Neil Batra that I wanted to send the email to. So now I have a sheet that only has the people I want to send to, and now I get to do my launch of Autocrat. So let's launch Autocrat. And now let's make a new merge job. I'm going to get rid of this one. Remember, we're merging that document, the template document, with this row or these rows of people that you want to send emails to. And so here we can choose our template from our drive. So we select the emergency response folder, and here we are. Here's our template that we want to merge with. Select that. It's going to load it. It's a pretty easy user interface, but you just have to be taken through it once, I think, to really get a handle for it. It's only a few steps.
Yeah, Neil, we were just discussing offline about the idea of creating multiple templates for this, because you might want to do something like an initial assignment of dates and rally points and then later on send out the actual shifts. So do you think that's fairly easy to do?
It is. It is. So what you would do to do that is develop a few different documents for different stages of the response, perhaps an initial one that tells you where to meet at a rally point, the other one that includes assignments like worksite and lodging, and then perhaps one for shifts that you could email out at different points of time.
Yeah, that's great, because we were thinking about, the time crunch of just trying to get people to a rally point and then maybe waiting a bit, making sure that happens first and then moving on the shift in a little bit. So that would be great.
Yeah. You can also develop one for thank you notes at the very end and use the same tool to send out thank you notes to everybody. So I'm naming this merge job practice. It's loading. And now I want to make sure that the sheet that contains the data is set to Phila emails. That's this one behind there. And then I'm going to make sure that the tags in the document are matched with the headers in the sheet, so that first name is matched up with first name as opposed to being matched with last name or unit or license verified or whatever these may be. First name is matched with first name, last name with last name, unit with unit, departure date with departure date, return date, these all look good. Oh, we have a problem here. Rally point location should not have the first name up here. So we want rally point location to be rally point location. Let's see, reception center location. Again, that got mixed up there. Just got to double check these things. Worksite location, I see a pattern. Looks like the locations may have gotten not automatically matched. Accommodations location, responder role, and then shifts look like they matched just fine. So let's save this. And now we can decide, the last step is to actually name the files. So file naming convention. And we have these, every single column is given this sort of $sign and then the column name, and we can reference those. So let's say the file naming convention I want to be deployment summary for $sign first name, $sign last name. I can even do as of $sign current date, and that'll actually spit out the current date as well. I want these to be PDFs, and I could just click save and run it, and then what would happen is it would generate this PDF for Neil Batra and save it in my Google folder, my Google Drive. And that is a very easy thing to do. You can then print them out and hand it to the volunteer if they're right in front of you. But you can also email them. And in this case, you would use the column email address. And so you would put in the two addresses, you'd put $sign email address. The subject, you might want to put deployment summary for $sign first name, $sign last name, and again, their name will appear. You can put dear first name, F-I-R-S-T name. Please find attached your deployment summary for the hurricane response, blah, 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 right? Whatever else you want to write in there. And then include the merge document as a PDF file attachment. You can also do advanced settings if you wish, which include conditional merge options, where it will only do the merge if the following is true. So I could set only if the departure time equals 0700 and limit it to those folks, or nothing. So in this case, I don't want to use any of those advanced settings since I'm only sending to one person. So I'm going to save the merge. It's important to note that this is a great tool, but it does have some limitations, and I'll get to those in a moment. Here we are, practice has appeared. You always want to preview the merge before you actually run it. So let's preview this, and it's going to show me what roughly it might be a little different in the preview than it will be in the actual email, but you'll at least know whether your data has loaded correctly. For example, if you've used the right template or not. All right, so we have a deployment summary for Neil Batra. His unit is Philadelphia. The dates look correct, October 14th through the 19th. The rally points, okay, we can see that we have a little bit of a problem here, the Southeast Pennsylvania at undefined location. So maybe we want to go back and check that. But we can see that his shift assignments are correct, and that really his lodging, his work site, his jurisdiction, all these assignments are correct. It just looks like the locations themselves didn't come through. So maybe we want to go back and check that. But for the purposes of today, we're going to click Run the Merge. When you click Run the Merge, at the very far end of the spreadsheet, there's going to be 4 new columns that appear. And these allow you to track the status of the merge. And the email address that this is sending to, I believe, is mrc@phila.gov. So we should be able to go in there and check. So it's found one job. And usually this takes a matter of maybe a minute, and look, it's done. All right, so these are links to the Google Doc of the PDF that was created, and it was sent, and all the merges were completed. So let's just check and see if it showed up in my inbox. And here we have from example unit1@gmail.com, the deployment summary, and we can click on the PDF, open it, and we have my deployment summary in my inbox. The other way to see this is if you go into your Google Drive, Google created a new folder called Merge Docs. And in here is the deployment summary that was created so you can see what all the documents that have been created. It looks like I put $current date, and it really should have been CURR date. So that was my mistake. But if you do that, it actually does spit out the current date. All right, so let's talk briefly, wrap up here, the limitations of this function, Autocrat. Google limits this to sending 100 emails automatic per day per account, all right? So that they do that so that you don't start spamming the whole world with these automated emails. But what that means for us practically is that if you want to send more than 100 emails per day, you need to create a couple accounts. And so we might have your Unit 1 and your Unit 2, different accounts that all have access to this sheet via sharing. And we've tested it. Those can each send 100 emails per day. And so that's sort of the backup plan. A further backup is if you don't want to use the Autocrat tool, you can always go into the Make Assignments folder and generate a filter and filter based on, let's say, departure date and departure time and a particular vehicle or a work site. You can specify exactly who you want and then go over to their email addresses, grab those emails, and put them in your own inbox and send an email to those 20, 15, however many, 50 individuals with specific information you want them to hear. So if the whole mail merge thing is kind of scary or you don't really trust it, you can always do that as a backup, is use this to get specific lists of emails.
Neil, here I think it's worth noting for other listeners that, you know, as you're training your volunteers in this kind of process, that they should trust a variety of emails coming from your unit coordinator, because, you know, they may be familiar with only getting things from the ESAR VIP or only getting things from a certain, you know, work-associated email address. So, you know, just for anybody listening, I think it's a good, you know, training point to say that, you know, they may be coming from these various Gmail addresses in a large emergency.
That's a good point. I think getting people used to the fact that you may have emails from other addresses. You should also note that the account that the email comes from does not have to be a Gmail account. For example, you can create a Google account with a work account as the email address. So, for example, we have mrc@phila.gov, and that is the name that appears up here, and that is the email address that these emails come from and arrive in the person's inbox. So you can play with that and set up, you know, a couple different accounts for your unit and set that to be the email address that these emails come from. If you feel like Gmail might be, I don't know, not as trustworthy in some volunteers' eyes, but it really is. But in case you're worried about that, you can set that to be the case. All right, so we've covered a lot of things today. Remember, it's all in the instructions tab, step by step. So this is, for example, every step that I just talked through about Autocrat and the merging is here. Advanced instructions with the actual formulas and the functions behind the scenes are here if you want to see how it works or edit it or change it. And then, of course, there's our contact information as well if you want to get a hold of us to give feedback. And there's a survey at the very beginning that we ask you fill out to just so we can send you any updates and get feedback on how the tool is working and how it could be improved.
Great. Neil, we have one final thing over here. So, you know, this is more for a long-term deployment. How would you recommend, or do you have any recommendations for developing it to use for, say, like, if this Saturday we need volunteers just in Philadelphia in our local jurisdiction?
Good question. I think that although this tool
Not really another webinar.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
although this was designed for this sort of transportation of volunteers and multiple rally points and reception centers, I think you could probably, in a pinch, use this right now for a local jurisdiction. And what you would do is just skip the columns that weren't relevant. So looking through here, unit is still relevant, unit roster is still relevant, availability dates, those would absolutely still be relevant. You know, rally point, maybe that's not as relevant. Reception center could be a proxy for work site if you wanted to. You know, these are all still relevant. Departure dates, and you know, checked in at the work site, that could absolutely be relevant. And you can go in and change this and assign shifts. So I think a lot of it can be applied locally right now. I did want to just note, so you noticed right there, I accidentally took out a piece of this tool. You probably want to go in and protect some of these important cells. And so an easy way to do that is right-click on any cell and click Protect Range. And that will allow you to select certain cells that people can't accidentally overwrite, et cetera. And that's based on who you share it with, so whatever other people you decide to share it with. So that's all for today. Any other questions from Katie?
No, I think that's good, Neil.
Yeah, this is a great tool. Thanks so much for doing the presentation.
Great. All right, take care, folks. Hope you use it well. Bye-bye.